to Leading Entrepreneurs of the World. Leading Entrepreneurs of the World features entrepreneurs, founders, and business leaders presenting on cutting-edge topics and the latest industry developments. Our goal is to provide the global business and entrepreneurial communities with a window into the minds of those who are shaping the future of the world. Today, we are super excited to welcome global entrepreneur Eddy Boccara. Eddy Boccara is CEO of Corofy, New York real estate's first broker intelligence platform. Through Corofy, Eddy and his team provide the real estate industry with a dedicated platform that transforms how real estate brokers are running their business by empowering them to translate data into future insights and forecast predictive outcomes based on historical data and analytics techniques. Corofy computes various data sets to deliver the most accurate and comprehensive intelligence for real estate brokerages in New York City and beyond today. Eddy, it's a great pleasure to have you here with us today, and we want to hear more about what you're doing and what brokerages are going to look like in the future.
That's awesome. Thank you, Jonathan. I'm very happy to be here with you guys today. This is going to be a fun presentation. Today, we're going to talk about the real estate brokerage of the future. And I think before we talk about what the real estate brokerage of the future is going to be, I picked this image because it's very representative of our time. During COVID, a lot of people started working from home, but it was a really pleasant surprise to see that the brokers and the agents, a lot of them remain in the office, even during the pandemic. And when we were allowed to go back to the office and start working from an environment that's collaborative again, the agents, rushed back. They wanted that energy. They wanted to feed off each other. And it's interesting to think about the fact that we think about the future of work being from home, being remote, but at least when it comes to real estate and the brokerage world, the future remains in the office. And we're going to talk about this today. So first, who's Corofy? So Corofy is a brokerage intelligence platform. We're the first of its kind. We basically bring together every data set on real estate agents. Anything that you can find, we aggregate it, we clean it, we compute it, and we present it through a powerful but yet really easy to use analytics tool designed for brokerages. And a little bit about myself. So, if you're interested in what I'm going to be speaking about today, I'm one of the co-founder and I'm the CEO at Corofy. And a lot of the information that I'm going to be speaking about, but also some of the data that I will be presenting, you can also find me regularly on Inman, on Yahoo, and on The Real Deal. So without any further ado, why don't we talk about what is a real estate brokerage? So a real estate brokerage is a platform. Right. First, it's really important to understand that it's a platform, and it's a platform that is designed for the agents. So when you think about a brokerage and an agent, you do not have to think about it as an employer and an employee, versus actually today, you're thinking about a real estate agent being a platform and the agent being a consumer. So when you look at the current landscape, the current marketplace, agents as consumers are finding the best platform for their training, for their support, for marketing, for sales, for growth, whether it is personal or professional, but also for culture. So really important to understand that a brokerage is a platform first. And now when we talk about a platform, let's take a look actually about the development timeline of these platforms, of these brokerages. So in the past, when you would think about a brokerage, you would think about it as a transactional platform. It's a place where commissions were exchanged between brokers and agents. An agent requires a sponsoring broker to have an active license. And in the past, there was very little support when it came to sell, marketing, growth, development, and there was really no culture in the brokerage world. It was a place to transact commissions when sales or rentals were transacted. In the present, a brokerage, and most of you may have heard of the term tech-enabled brokerage, a brokerage has become a technology platform. So Many may think, no, this is actually the future. The future, the brokerage of the future is a tech-enabled platform. But no, because today we are seeing in the current marketplace, the leading brokers already being tech-enabled brokerage. And what does a tech-enabled brokerage mean? So a tech-enabled brokerage is a platform that leverages technology and tools to facilitate the business of its agents. It's whether it is a CRM, whether it is modern valuation, property valuation tools, modern marketing, modern sales automation. A brokerage is developing internal and external technology for its agents, right? And also for its consumer to provide access to more information and more transparency. So if the present is already a tech-enabled brokerage, what is the future? So what I believe and what the data is indicating is that real estate brokerages are going to become lifestyle platforms, where instead of actually just being a place of transaction or a marketplace for technology, brokers and agents are going to cooperate to develop a great customer experience. And so what is going to change in the future? How is that customer experience going to evolve? Because at the end of the day, revenue and growth is determined in this current marketplace by the quality of the end consumer, whether it is the buyer, whether it is the renter, whether it is the seller or the landlord or the investor. The quality of that customer experience is what defines the agent and ultimately the brokerage. So interestingly enough, I think we are actually going to ditch what's called brokering. Brokering sounds like manual process that is slow, that involves multiple parties, that may not keep up to date with the pace of the transaction, with the need of the consumer. And brokering sounds very much like a term of the past, at least to me. And when you have so many different parties involved and all of the agent or the brokerage is in the middle trying to broker that deal, well, ultimately it creates frustrations, it creates delays, it is capital inefficient, it is often a waste of time for multiple parties. And ultimately, who's suffering from this brokering situation is the consumer. So in the future, I believe that what's going to happen is that we're going to ditch the term brokering and we're going to be focusing on providing a stellar customer experience. And the experience ultimately of this customer is going to drive more success to the agents, repeated business, but also more awareness for this new way of functioning and this new way of transacting that the brokerage is enabling. And I think we could talk about many different aspects of what ditching brokering means, but a second aspect that I want to mention is eliminating inefficiencies. And the reason why I want to touch upon eliminating inefficiencies is because I want to talk about the transition between the present and the future. So as I said today, the current modern brokerage is a tech-enabled brokerage, is leveraging technology to eliminate inefficiencies. And in the near future, we're going to see more inefficiency being actually eliminated, removed from the real estate purchasing process, and this is going to inhibit a positive customer experience. So really my point here is we ditch brokering, we become a customer success platform, and we have a sole focus and we have cooperation from the brokerage and from all of the agents and all other third parties involved in providing a stellar customer experience. Now, one of the challenge, and we'll spend time on this, is facing that brokerages are going to be facing are the turnover. So I think it is, most know that real estate agents experience extremely high turnover. We have really high turnover in our industry. So this is data pulled directly from Corofy. So 82% of new agents are out of the industry within their first 12 months. So what does that mean and what is that due to? So we're actually first referring to new agent as new licensee. So people that have no previous real estate experience, that have gotten a real estate license, in their state, whether it is New York, New Jersey, California, Florida, and that have actually joined a brokerage, a platform, to be able to serve consumer and start helping buyers and sellers and renters transact. Now, there is no difference between real estate and modern industry. As I said, we're not talking about an employer-employee relationship, but agents typically make income based on commission. So they're getting compensated only when a transaction is actually closed. When the deal is closed, they are receiving a commission that is being split between them and the brokerage. Now, in an extremely competitive landscape, most agents are not capable to generate sufficient income in the first 12 months to sustain remaining full-time in this profession. So what is that due to? Is it due to the fact that we have too many real estate agents? Is it due to the fact that the brokerage is not providing the right support? The platform is not capable of providing sufficient business to these agents? I believe it's a combination of the two. I believe that most people are underestimating what it really means to be a real estate agent. And what it means to be a real estate agent, before all, and what the top real estate agents will tell you in this country, is that it means being an entrepreneur. So naturally, by becoming an entrepreneur, you are actually going to be facing a lot of different challenges. You're going to face the challenges to generating your own income, creating your own sales opportunities, developing your own marketing, generating referrals, developing a book of business. And I think due to what is usually called the low barrier of entry, the ease of getting a real estate license, a lot of people are rushing into this industry, not really knowing what to expect. And who is that hurting? Obviously, it is hurting the consumer because no consumer wants to be working with an agent that is not capable of satisfying their need. It is obviously impacting the agents themselves because you're going in with usually a lot of expectation into this new profession, into this new industry, to this new sector. And it may be sometimes very traumatizing to know that you won't be able to sustain yourself within the first 6 or 12 months. But ultimately, the turnover is extremely difficult to manage and is a big challenge of the brokerage world because the brokerage as a platform is investing time, resources into these new agents to develop them, and then it is seeing them leave that same platform in less than 12 months. So it's a waste of time, a waste of money, but it's ultimately a waste of talent. Now, another aspect of the turnover that a brokerage may face may not only be new agents not succeeding and actually not being able to maintain a sufficient book of business and remaining licensed and active. A second aspect of the turnover is the fact that agents naturally go from one brokerage to another, from one platform to another, because they attribute their lack of success sometimes and their lack of professional development to the current platform that they're associated with. So Corofy data indicates that 3/4 of the active agent population will switch brokerage at least twice in their license lifetime. So I don't know if we realize that this is not changing employer. This is changing the platform that is helping you transact. This is coming into a new way of doing business. This is reinventing yourself. This is importing your existing customer from one platform to another. This is adopting new technologies. And the brokerage not being able to retain their agents on the long term is again suffering because they've invested time into developing these talents that will inevitably leave for a brokerage that have advertised a better value proposition. So how are we going to be facing the turnover challenge? is going to be critical in the brokerage of the future. So what's going to happen? First, brokerages in the future are going to need to become more agent-centric, right? So as we spoke about, an agent is seeking a platform designed for their personal and their professional development. And I want to put an emphasis on personal. Why personal? Because we spoke about the brokerage of the future being a lifestyle brokerage. So an agent is looking to develop their skills, is looking to develop their relationships, right? Real estate is relationship. And ultimately, through their skills and developing relationship, they're also developing their income. So the brokerage of the future does not only need to be able to provide a place to transact commission checks, does not only need to be able to provide tools for efficiency, but need to have an entire value selling proposition centered around the agents in order to face the retention problem, in order to turn more new agents into successful long-term professionals, and in order to retain their top talent long-term. And most brokerages today believe that they've already developed an agent-centric value proposition. And they are misinterpreting having an agent-centric value proposition by having access to tools. But an agent-centric value proposition is more than just technology. The right value proposition is around the people. It is a personalized experience from start to finish. It is personalized yet scalable support for every transaction that an agent brings. And it is investing in the training, in the coaching, in the sales development of their agents. And I believe that being a lifestyle brokerage means that being around the people, being with them when they're transacting, being with them in difficult time, being with them pre-transaction, but also being with them post-transactions. So the agents are naturally going to become more successful and find more than just a transactional office in their brokerage. And something that I think is going to be really important and what's going to change is the broker-agent relationship. So in order to become a lifestyle brokerage, the relationship has to change. And I've put this subtitle that goes from compromise to cooperation because very much so, when I first started my real estate career at a brokerage, I felt like my broker and I were compromising for each other. I will compromise a portion of my commission in exchange of some specific support. But I never felt that I was in an environment that was made for cooperation. And if there is something that I believe needs to change fundamentally, beyond the technology, beyond the lifestyle, beyond the support, it is the mindset that needs to be cooperative. So the brokerage will transition. The agent will develop personal brands. And I think it's a very important topic to speak about, agents developing personal brands, because the brokerage brand will become secondaries. You know, thinking about this large franchise group, thinking about this really large brokerage, technical brokerage, those brands will become less important than the agents. And instead, the agents will develop themselves and they will develop their personal brands. And cooperation within the brokerage need to exist for this to happen. And the brokerage has to be able to support the whole lifestyle that an agent wants to have being an agent. And I think that the very few brokerages that have already sensed this today, that have put aside compromising commission, support, tools, technology, marketing, to instead having a cooperative mindset, are winning. They're winning the trust of their agents. They're winning market share with consumers. They're winning on retention. They're winning on internal referrals, good agents bring on other good agents, and they're facing the number one problem that a brokerage is facing today, which is they're reducing turnover and improving and eliminating the inefficiencies that are making them capital inefficient. This is what the brokerage of the future looks like. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Eddy. Really, really insightful. I actually have a little bit of a real estate background from a marketing side. And so I've been in between in the past that dynamic that you talk about between the brokerage and the agent there. And it's a fascinating approach to what you guys are doing because of really the necessity. Anybody that has ever been kind of in between those two sides of the broker platform and the agent understands that it really needs to change. Why do you think there has been, I guess, resistance to that change of the overall brokerage brands kind of pulling back a little bit and allowing the individual to kind of shine a little more and create that personal brand?
I think that's a great question. I think it's been difficult because most brokerages, at least in the small to medium size, are operated by former agents themselves, right? So when you see that 97% of the market is actually small to medium sized brokerages, and most of them have actually been agents for 20, 25 years before opening their own shop, there's going to be a resistance to invest in new talent, to put yourself behind and actually shine the light on the talent that you're supposed to onboard, which is quite interesting because ultimately, if you're creating a brokerage, you are creating a platform, you are trying to, scale your own success, right? You're trying to teach to others the tricks and the tips that have made you successful. And instead of being a solo salesperson, you're trying to build a team that can get more market share. So I think, it resides in the mentality, it resides in the fact that the difficulty of the job, as we've spoken about, and the fact that most broker owners today are former agents. And that's why the larger enterprises, the tech-enabled brokerage that are not necessarily being operated by former agents, are being more successful at developing brands, developing support marketing for the agents. I think it's, I often say to our customers at Corofy, it is really important for you to understand that being an agent and being a broker are two complete different jobs. You're not serving the same customers. You're not going to have the same day-to-day. Your revenue model is completely different. You ultimately have the same goals. You're trying to provide a great customer experience, but the jobs are so different. And I think a lot of the agents, at least in the early days, are having a hard time adapting to this new way of business.
Yeah, awesome. That makes a lot of sense. Your platform really revolves around the data and kind of tracking and collecting. Like I said, I've probably been out of real estate for 3 or 4 years now. And since then, right when I was making my exit, there were so many new technologies coming on, but overall, real estate felt like one of those very old industries where, people are still sharing Excel spreadsheets and just kind of Word docs over here. And it was very clunky, and it didn't seem like
and inefficient.
Exactly. And it didn't seem like people had a good handle on data. Is that kind of what you see being at least part of the catalyst in revolutionizing is that data like Corofy is doing to really track and know and not guess?
Absolutely. I mean, information is power. We are very much focused on one aspect of the data, which is the human capital aspect, and in this case, the agent. As you said, it's a lot of Excel spreadsheets. It's a lot of information that is fragmented and living in a lot of different places. It brings inefficiency. It's time consuming. So really at Corofy, what we said is we need to provide you with the utmost transparency on what's going on in the market. We need you to understand first that this is about the people. And we're going to provide you with insights. Like we've done what others were not able to do before, not because of the technological challenge, but more because of the philosophical challenge that we took. And I think that, other companies, other startups just like ours, that are bringing cutting edge data science, are making a difference in our industry by facilitating access to information. And, I saw actually, one of the One Business World, participants spoke about the fact that real estate data lives in many different places, is inaccurate, is not organized, and is fragmented. And it's very difficult to actually power such important decision making if you can't access seamlessly that information. So really, that's what we're changing at Corofy, and we're starting by the human capital, the people of the industry.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm really excited to see you guys continue to change the industry. The model is really, really fascinating from somebody that, comes out of kind of that world. So thanks so much, Eddy, for coming and giving your presentation, talking about Corofy. Very exciting product and company. Wish you guys all the best. And we really can't wait to just kind of sit back and see you guys revolutionize that particular space. And we really appreciate you being on Leading Entrepreneurs of the World today.
Thank you, Jonathan. It was a pleasure speaking about this, and hope to speak again very soon with you guys.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
We'll talk again soon.